All right, hello, people. Here we are on the morning success call, ready to roll, ready to learning a new skill. So, if you're on here, welcome guys that are joining, successful agents, salespeople. We are ready to start the morning right with success and good things. All right, well, welcome guys. All right, so today's topic, I wanted to talk on a couple different things. First of all, getting to know your client. I was with a fantastic salesman yesterday. His name is Lewis, and we were talking about a lot of things, and I was just hearing him make his phone calls. And I kind of figured out that he is looking at the problem a different kind of way, and he's using certain cues to find out exactly what his customer needs, and then using that knowledge, that information to set up his next play, his next play, his next play, and his next really value proposition. So you have to know your customer, have to know the client, you have to know their wants, their needs, their fears. If I don't know what motivates them, why they even want the product in the first place, I can't get them the best product for them. I can't expose some flaws in their thinking, and I can't really figure out where to go from here. In my area of sales, homes, a client may say, "Yeah, listen, I want a 5 bedroom, 3 bath." I'm thinking, okay, why does he need 5 bedrooms? These guys got it's his two people. They have one kid. Why would well, I want to make one an office and I want to do this and I want to do that. Okay, well, have we thought about a larger living room? Have we thought about maybe an office space, a den, a loft? So you don't need that extra bedroom. You can just use the office space as that, because the client didn't know the facts and how a home is set up in that way, they couldn't make the right decision. It's like saying, "Hey, I want to buy a boat." Great. What do you want the boat for? Okay, it's a fishing boat. Okay, but don't buy the race boat. I want the race boat, right? So when you don't know exactly what your customer needs, then you really can't help them with the product. That goes also to their end goal. What is the customer's end goal? If I don't know what their end goal is, I can't get them there on the product, right? So a lot of us in sales just think, okay, they came in, they want a red Ferrari, and they really could want a minivan, right? The minivan's what's best for them, right? So we don't know. We don't know. So we have to figure out number one, their wants, their needs, and their fears. Wants and needs are not always the same thing. They may want a 5 bed, but they need a 4 bed, or they may want a 3 bed, but they're having theirs, they need a 4 bed. So whatever the case is, find out their wants and needs. Find out what their fears are, because fear is a motivator. Pain is a motivator. Emotions are motivators. If I can find out what their fears are, I can work to alleviating those fears later on. Or I can increase those fears when we're getting to a point of stalling, which we'll talk about, or non-committal behaviors. So, for example, well, I'll get into that here shortly. But I have to know my client. I have to know their needs, wants, and fears, their motivation to act. I always ask that. Well, John, why do you want to buy a house? Well, I'm tired of renting. Great, fantastic. Write that down. Okay. John, why do you need the car? Okay, well, I need to get from point A to point B of good gas economy. Great. Let's go with this one, right? So, what's their motivation? Why do they need the product? And a lot of people will think, okay, I want to better my life. I want to have a place for my kids. I want to have a place where I can raise my son, and it has a pool because I want to be able to have him swim, and then we need to have some space for the batting cage, whatever it is. Find out their motivations because you're going to use that later on in the sales process. The other thing too, guys, is at this point I'm gauging their ability, the feasibility of them to buy, their time frame, their ability to buy. If they don't have the ability to buy, then I'm kind of figuring that out up front so A, I don't waste their time. B, we get a plan for the future. And C, I don't waste my time, which is very valuable, right? So the ability to buy, time frame, realism to buy, these are all fantastic things that you should be figuring out with your client. If you're not doing that, then you've got a bit of a problem and you're not doing a good intake for your buyer, okay, for your client. So Let's talk about recognizing stalling behaviors. When a customer, I get the feeling, and if you're in sales, you're getting some of those feelings, right? I'm getting the feeling that they're kind of ghosting me, kind of whatever, they're stalling. There's three things that Jordan Belfort talks about in his book that are non-committal behaviors. Number one is vague about finances. If they're vague about finances or overly dismissive, like, hey, it's gonna be 500,000. Oh, no problem. I got it. No, no worries. We're good. Okay, well, tell me more. Are you pre-qualified? Oh, no, no, no. We're good. We're good. Okay, do you have cash? Oh, yeah, I got it. Don't worry. Can I see proof? Oh, well, we'll get there. Very vague, very non-disclosure on finances, on how they're going to get their closing cost considerations, how they're going to get their down payment. A lot of people think that they can borrow money to buy a home or borrow money for the down payment. You can't. You got to figure these things out. There's a letter, there's certain guidelines, lending guidelines, right? So if they're very vague about where their financing is coming from, those things are going to be a problem for you. And if you don't realize that, then you're not doing a good intake. But that is a stalling behavior, very dismissive about financing. They won't take the qualifying steps. Hey, in order for me to sell you the best kind of product, we need to have a meeting and we talk about, oh, yeah, well, listen, we'll meet me at the house. Well, that's not really how it works. I'll meet you at the house, but we have to have a chat about you, about what you want, what you need. I can't help you. I don't just show property. That's not what I do. We have to sit down and talk about your goals, about what you want in a home, and have a good buyer intake. Whatever product you have, if you're just meeting them at the end product and you're not getting to know them, then you're not building loyalty, rapport, or trust with that customer. A lot of people just meet the customer at the house. That's fantastic, yes. But you need to go a further step and have a good consultation. So they won't take qualifying steps. They're vague about their finances. Those are two big indicators of non-committal or stalling behaviors. The other thing that's a stalling behavior, okay, is going to be when they want to nitpick and kick the tires on everything about the product. If they're nitpicking, kicking the tires on everything about the product, you show them seven properties. All seven have some minor details that need to be fixed, but those details are the worst things ever. Oh my God, I can't believe this house has a speck on the drywall. This is insane. Next, you're like, dude, this is normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the normal thing. Hey, these walls are terrible color. Next, okay, well, we can paint them. Nope, I don't want them. When you provide a solution, the customer off the bat is dismissive of the solution, or they just want to move on, or they don't get it. These things are a problem when it comes to recognizing. These are recognizing. If you're recognizing this, the person is stalling. They're non-committal, and you got to figure out why. When you figure out why, you're thinking, okay, are they a looky-loo? Are they just looking? Are they using me to view property? Are they serious about buying? Can they even seriously buy? Am I wasting my time here? There's a lot that you've got to realize and you got to think about with this. So I would say think about recognizing stalling behaviors. Okay. All right. Engagement with them on what matters. When I am, again, getting to know my client, my customer, getting to know that buyer, understand their wants, their needs, their fears, their motivations to act. Motivation's key. Why do you want the product? If it's a good reason, then you know you have a good. If it's a dumb reason, then you're kind of figuring that out. And the reason will give you if they're serious and realistic, right? But when I engage with them, I want to engage them on three levels. Level number one is I want to engage them on the emotional level. When I want them to act, when I want a customer to act, I have to engage them on the emotional level because the emotional level is how we as humans make decisions. We're going to go over some objections today, and we have in the past in the other courses, in the other videos. But when we engage a customer on an emotional level, it's not about the transaction. It's about wanting to meet their needs and their goals. When I engage the customer on the emotional level, I'm getting to the heart of why they're acting, their motivation. For example, Ronnie, I don't know if now's the right time. I'm really concerned about the prices and that kind of thing. Well, let me ask you this, John. Can you afford to keep renting? Because what's going to happen when you're feeling in a couple months that you're paying all this money in rent and you're not really getting anywhere? Does that really meet your goals? And John, what's going to happen when you have the baby and you don't have a place for the baby to sleep because you don't have the big enough space that you want to be able to emotional play, provide for your family? And it isn't about the house, it's about him providing for his family. It isn't about the property, the price, the time it's on his son. It isn't about the mortgage number, it's about the schools for his kids because he wants them to have the best education possible. The emotional play is where you take their fears, trepidations, and desires, and you make the sale aimed at meeting those goals, the goals of their needs, wants, fears, motivations. But I'm not doing it based on numbers. I'm not doing it based on analytics. I'm not doing it based on their mortgage payment. I'm doing it based on emotions, what their ultimate goals are. If I don't know those ultimate goals, I can't help them. All of this, guys, sales is helping, really, sales is just helping your customer meet their goals. If I don't know their goals, I can't get them there. People sometimes are resistant, they're standoffish, they're scared to make the decision that you know is the best decision and they know is better. They're scared. So let me just try to phrase it in a way to where I'm meeting their goals, but showing them that on an emotional level, playing to their emotions. Now, some people are analytical. I had a customer recently, had a great time selling him a condo, but he was a very analytical guy. He wanted to see all the numbers for the HOA. He wanted to see all the financial numbers. He wanted to see all the mortgage numbers. He wanted to see his amortization schedule. He wanted to see the taxes from the tax property appraisal website. He wanted to know all the details. So he was a very analytical guy. When I identified that, I knew how to best serve him with numbers and analytical play. Um, and that's the analytical play, giving them the numbers, the appreciation, the depreciation, what they can do on taxes, what's a good strategy for that. That was the play I took with him because he was that kind of person. He was wired a bit different than most people. He was an analytical guy. That's one play. So we have the emotional play, which is pretty much appealing to the person's emotions. Then we have the analytical play, which is appealing to an analytical brain, their numbers brain, their mindset. Now, some people just need to see comparisons, and that's the comparison play. I love the comparison play because with that one, I'm able to use a bit of both emotions, facts, analysis, numbers into a comparison. Well, John, I know right now you're thinking that you can't afford this, but really you can't afford not to do it. Look at your rent at $2,200 and look at buying at 2,300. You're thinking, yeah, it's extra $100 a month, but the rent's going to go up 100 probably in the next couple of years. You're not paying, you're just throwing that money away, paying somebody else's mortgage. Here you're paying for your own product, your own home. You're in control. But what you haven't thought about, John, is the appreciation level of that property. It's going to appreciate a certain percent in your area. That percent is blah, blah, blah. Every year for the next 30 years, which means that guess what? You're locked in now for a product that's going to appreciate 100, 200, $300,000 over the course of the lifetime of the product. Well, what if I get tired? Well, if you get tired, you sell it, you've appreciated. Wait 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, sell it, you're making money. So let's compare the numbers there. When I give them the comparison play, I'm able to show them the difference between two products. Number one, in my case, is renting, and then is buying. But the comparison play exposes the advantages of acting now. Maybe I'm quoting mortgage rates. Maybe I'm quoting the increase in sales price. Maybe I'm quoting depreciation or appreciation in a certain market. The comparison play allows me to really dive in to the advantage of buying now versus buying later. And I love that play, especially people who are on the fence about buying. Okay. Those people may have this objection, which is an objection I got from one of my coaching students Tim. Um, the objection is, hey, Tim, um, I like everything you're showing me, but I still want to look around for a better price, a better deal. I'm still shopping for price. That's a hard one because I feel like when someone gets shopping for price, there's a lot of different ways you can play it. First of all, I want to get to the heart of the objection, which is to make sure that there's no smoke screens here, that their objection really is shopping for price. So, Ronnie, I'm just, I don't know, I want to look to see what other options there are and what other properties are that are cheaper than this one. I said, hey, John, I totally get it, man. You want to look for a price, and I repeated back, you want to see if there's maybe a house that is in your price range a little better. But let me ask you this question. Um, what about the price is the problem? Is it the price is it too high? And is it the price of the property or is it the mortgage? Okay. Are we too high on sales price or are we too high on the monthly payments? What is it? If they tell me monthly, then I can just do a comparison play and say, listen, rents are this, your home is this, you're going to appreciate, blah, blah, blah. You have your own place. This is a fantastic opportunity, right? If it's total sales price play, I'm going to say, hey, listen, because you don't want to look at properties in your price range, you think you go to 300, you think yeah, 300 you'll find some better properties. Yeah, we're at 5. I really want to say at 4. Well, what about 4? Because your month is it because of the total loan amount? Because your monthly payment's based on interest. So what are we concerned with here? Well, I want a lower loan. Great. Well, let's look at properties in that price range. John, when we first talked, and I pull up their sheet, you wanted a 4 bed, 2 bath, with a pool, with this, with I'm going to explain everything you want. Is that still correct? Okay, that's what you want. The okay, great. Here are all those homes at the price point that I think is a good price point, 500,000 in Winter Garden. Show them all those homes. Blah, blah, blah. Here are those home that same criteria at the price range that you want, 300,000. There's none. So we know that the price is the problem because what you want is actually doesn't exist at that price. So we know we need a little bit more realistic. Now, John, on these things, if you didn't want and I start excluding things. If you didn't want the pool, then we can find one that everything else at 450. If you didn't want the backyard with this, that feature, then there it is at 400. If you didn't want this, and that, it is here. But John, here's how I get him to do what I want him to do, which is go for what he wants, what he can afford. John, the difference in the payment between this one and that one is $400. So sure, you can get that home. But for $400 more, you get everything you want. Sure, we can shortchange ourselves now, but over the course of 30 years, you're not going to want that pool. Get the pool now. It's $400 a month only, right? John, we can look in this lower range, but for only $400 a month more, we can get everything you want. Does that sound like a good plan? Okay. I'm able to, first of all, with any kind of objection, I want to make sure it isn't a smokescreen objection. Is that the true objection? They're worried about price. Great. Show them the options at the price ranges and show them, then get off of total sales price and go towards what? Towards the options and what that means monthly. That's what I do in homes. I'm able to look at the immediate value and the later value and then just show them the options, right? When you're looking at these kind of products that are long-term products, there is a idea that they're only going to be able to make the decision once, whether it's a long-term insurance product, whether it's a long-term, a nice car, a long-term car, a long-term home, obviously investment property. You only have one chance to make the sale because you can't resell it later. So let's make this one chance count. Listen, you're gonna buy a house. You got to buy it now. Do you want to buy the one that doesn't have all the things that you want, or you want to buy the one that has the things you want for only $300 a month more? What now you're renting, your rent won't go up $300 in the next 5 years, probably. So what are we talking about here? Right? I'm able to show them the details and numbers and show them exactly why it's in their best interest to get exactly what they want if the numbers work out. I'm giving you an example where the numbers are working out. Sometimes numbers don't work out, but I want to run those numbers with a lender and figure out those numbers make sense. So those are some of the strategies I use to overcome the objection. Are we still, I want to look at more houses, maybe a lower price. I'm just a little. Sometimes that objection comes from them just being scared to act, scared to act. So again, we talked about getting to know your client really well, wants, needs, motivations, fears, the motivation to act. What is your, John, why do you want to buy this product in the first place, or this house? The motivation to act, once they can verbalize it, goes a long way. I want to look at their ability to buy. Is it feasible, realistic? Fantastic. Then I want to recognize some stalling behaviors, non-committal behaviors, being vague about finances. They won't take the qualifying steps. They won't, everything is a problem with the house or the product. Then I want to engage them on what matters, emotions, and that emotional play is one, analytical play is one, and then the comparison play. And then we talked about, price shopping and that objection. So hopefully you guys learn a new skill. You've learned one thing from this webinar, from this daily test call. Use that one thing in your sales calls and use that thing to engage customers. So I will see you again Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m., guys. Cheers.